It's time for The Drive on TSN 1200, sending you home with everything you need to know about sports. Now with Matt Conisvita, here's Lee Versage.
Good afternoon. Welcome to The Drive here on TSN 1200. Lee Versage on a Thursday afternoon. Usually at this time, we would say hello to Aaron John. But I think he's in the air. And if he's not in the air, he's flying soon. Home from Winnipeg. He's been there for 10 days. So, it's me and you, Matt. Matt Conisvita.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. And once again, we didn't have to hear from Rob Bass, which is impressive. When it's been the two of us the last two Thursdays, it is a musical theme Thursday here on The Drive.
That's right.
So, in other circumstances, it would be AJ and I against the listener.
Today, it's you and the listener against me by some strange logic.
It's the world against you, Matt.
Oh,
Can you beat the world today?
I feel that way a lot. Thanks, Josh. Steve. Because a big day for Kim Mitchell, who's inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Rightfully so, Kim. Way to go. Congratulations. What a career.
There will be no Kim Mitchell today. It doesn't fit my theme. Sorry, gentlemen. And thank you for ruining my life, Josh, who put it out there on Twitter. And, you've ruined my life. He made a face smash of my face on Kim Mitchell's body. And it is as horrific as you would think.
It actually isn't. It fits quite well. When I saw it, I was like, I know that's Conisvita's face, but it fits in very well with Kim Mitchell. So, congratulations, Kim. But Hot for Teacher, Van Halen, song number 1. Okay, listener. It's you. It's me. We're against Matt Conisvita here today on a Thursday. But we do have a lot to do, as always, and a particularly busy day in the NHL with already a couple of trades. You heard Steve Lloyd talk about them with Alex Nedeljkovic going to Detroit. Shane Gostisbehere moved on to Arizona. So we'll talk about those deals. We expect more deals to be announced. What's happening with Zach Hyman? Well, we'll find out. Sounds like he's going to be part of the Edmonton Oilers for a very hefty price. So we'll talk a lot of hockey here on the program. Our good friend Mark Edwards from Hockey Prospect is going to join us. And that'll be in the 5 o'clock hour to get ready for the draft tomorrow night. What is Ottawa going to do? Now that Joey Daccord is gone, are they going to set their sights on a goaltender? Should they? Pierre Dorion, general manager of the Ottawa Senators, spoke to the media earlier today. We will hear that conversation with the media, and we'll hear some snippets throughout the afternoon as well on what the GM had to say going into the draft. An exciting couple of days. We have full coverage for you here on TSN 1200. How about this lineup tomorrow night? The boss, Steve Lloyd, Dean Brown. Question I'd ask is, who really is the boss of that group? Right? Matt wondering, yeah, it's a good question. Who is?
I'm going to plead the fifth here.
I do know who the boss is on Saturday afternoon when we cover rounds 2 through 7. Because it'll be myself, Graham Creech, and Gord Wilson. So we know Gord's the boss of that group. Right? There's no doubt about that. So, again, full coverage for you beginning on Friday night of round 1, and we'll have rounds 2 through 7 for you on Saturday. So we'll talk a lot about the official, boy, that was amazing last night, official unveiling of the Kraken. They had the water in the background and on the boat. And I mean, Matt, it was quite a production. I mean, there was not one surprise, but it was a production.
Oh, we were surprised by Detroit's pick.
Really? Who was it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, exactly.
I was watching a bit of the coverage last night. Felt like, of course, they're getting Macklemore to announce who the Sens are, who they're taking from the Sens. Of course, it's Macklemore. Of course.
Well, is it better than some of the other guys in Marshawn Lynch and Sean Kemp and
Sean Kemp, going around a little bit. Sean Kemp, maybe get him a bigger T-shirt, one that fits him a little bit better next time. Gary Payton was looking good. I was a little disappointed. I thought Fraser Crane, Kelsey Grammer should have been worked in because they're rebooting Fraser, are they not? So thought that was a missed opportunity there, but it was okay.
I'm not sure how long that reboot's going to last, so maybe a good move by the NHL.
They announced the Carolina Panthers.
Mm-hmm. They don't play in the league, man.
No, they don't. But I enjoyed watching the coverage a little bit. The fans were fired up, and man, is Seattle ever a beautiful spot. It's near the top of my list of cities I haven't visited in the States that I'd like to go to. Now it's a long list, but man, watching some of the coverage last night just made me even more want to get out to the West Coast. And I've been to Vancouver, have not been to Seattle, and it's right near the top.
Yeah, same for me. One of the ultimate things I want to do. I've never been to California.
Oh, so, you got to do Highway 1.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Right? Is get out to California, spend a little bit of time, then drive up Highway 1, go through, the Northern California and into Oregon and Washington State, and then probably up to Vancouver and fly home.
Yeah.
That's a trip that a lot of people have done, but something that would be high on my bucket list.
Yeah, I've done San Francisco to Los Angeles via the Pacific Coast Highway, and the stretch outside of San Fran, just south, is unbelievable. It's on my bucket list to do it again. That's how great that stretch was.
Okay.
Like Carmel, drove around. I'm trying to think of, it's 8 Mile Road or 12 Mile Road, but you drive by Pebble Beach and you see a couple of the Spyglass Hill, like tee boxes and holes. You don't see like the Pebble Beach proper course all that much, but the Spyglass Hill one you do, and it's just unbelievable.
I'm sure. So we're going to talk a little bit about Marc Bergevin's comments, about Shea Weber, about Jonathan Drouin, and more. And again, as some of the trades trickle in, we'll speak about them. We're going to talk a lot about what the Ottawa Senators are going to do. I thought, Matt, quite the story in Major League Baseball. I'm just looking at a bunch of baseball stuff in front of me. In the National Football League, where they're not going to put up with too much when it comes to COVID and outbreaks. It's going to be a different year. But the NFL informing the clubs that if a game cannot be rescheduled during the 18-week season due to a COVID outbreak among unvaccinated players, the team with the outbreak will forfeit and be credited with a loss for playoff seeding per sources. Tom Pelissero had it, and he recaps it with infected team forfeits, take a loss for playoff seeding, face financial penalties, and possible additional sanctions if protocols are violated. And how about this? If that happens, and there is, so let's just take, I hate to say it, but reports are, the Dallas Cowboys are one of the teams that are I'll call them least vaccinated to this point. But it doesn't mean it would be them. Could be anybody. But let's just take them. And they're in a game they're playing. They do play Tampa Bay later on this year. If the Dallas Cowboys have an outbreak with unvaccinated players and they can't reschedule the game, Dallas loses because it was their fault. But both teams will not get paid for that week. You think there's going to be some angry people about everything that they are doing to prepare? So let's just say that they're playing Tampa Bay. Yeah, I'm sure Tampa's happy for the win without having to play a game, but they're not getting paid for it. And not a big deal to the rich players in the league, but a very big deal to some of the fringe players that are trying to make their mark and just trying to get in and make some money before their careers are so short anyway. I think this is a huge, huge announcement where it feels like, Matt, that the NFL thinks that they might have a problem, and they are trying to get ahead of this as they enter with camps opening next week.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what the NFLPA's response is. And you've had, was it Cole Beasley who came out and had
certainly was
very strong statements? Maybe it feels like that was probably about a month ago. You're going to have a lot of players who do not agree with this, and it's going to get contentious. Now, the NFL, as we know, has a lot of power over its players, and I am fascinated to see how this plays out. Personally, in my personal beliefs, I applaud the NFL for doing this, but that's just me personally. I know there are a lot of people out there who do not agree with my beliefs, and that's fine. But this is the NFL trying, in my opinion, trying to protect its players from themselves. And I'm going to be interested to see what the various owners of NFL teams think about this. And I mean, ideally, we don't have any outbreaks that cause any cancellations of games, and this becomes a moot point. But ideally,
yeah.
I don't know. This is a huge story, and it's only going to get bigger.
Well, and I'll take it a step further. I understand what you're saying. I don't disagree with from protecting the players against themselves. But the NFL is, if they're not the biggest league in the world, when you kind of put them up against the Premier League or whatever, I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are worth over $5 billion. Just themselves. What is the NFL worth? You have a product, and you are protecting that product. And you cannot have games be forfeited or, postponed or rescheduled. I'm sure they went through the nightmare last year with some of the broadcasters and the contracts, the billions of dollars that those media outlets pay to have the games. We've already talked about, what they're going to do, like on Thursday nights with Amazon coming in shortly, and Thursday night games are going to be on Amazon. And with the new deals, you just cannot go into a week and have, NBC and the Sunday night game. This game's not happening tonight. And you have to protect your asset. And as you said, whether I agree or disagree or anybody else, this is the NFL protecting its asset right now. And the millions upon billions of dollars that are lost when games don't happen. And they're trying to get ahead of it because last year was not fun. And last year was a different time. But we have more answers to not let this happen again. Whether people agree with it or not, I don't know. It's kind of besides the point. Because, as you said, I don't know that if there's a players' association that has less power in a major sporting league than the players in the NFL. They don't have guaranteed contracts in 2021. Right? They don't have it. So, yeah, they get bonuses and they protect themselves, and the star players get paid for sure. But tell anybody if you thought in 2021 that a league would still not have guaranteed contracts. Man, that's I don't know what the players are going to do about it. I think what's going to happen is the players are going to have a choice. If they don't want to get vaccinated, then that's going to be on them, and I'm not sure they're going to be allowed to play.
Now, we'll see how the NFLPA responds, and the robber baron texting in, the announcement by the NFL has grievance written all over it. Mm-hmm. Hard to disagree. But, yeah. I mean, we know where the power is, and if I had to guess right now, I would think you're right. Or you're going to have at least one owner, maybe the Raiders, who's not going to care. But I think more often than not that if a player doesn't get vaccinated, I think you're right. They're just not going to be allowed to play because the risk is too great.
There will be grievances for sure, Robert Barron and everybody else thinking that. You don't think the NFL understands that? You think they just decided today, like, hey, we're going to do this, so what could possibly happen? No, they're ready for this. And they obviously have put this out because they feel very strongly that they would be able to win those cases, right? This is the NFL. This is not just Roger Goodell coming up with an idea and throwing it out there. Hey, Roger, not a bad idea. Yeah, let's do that. This is something much more in depth. And yes, there will be grievances, and I get the sense the NFL is going to be ready for all of those grievances. And you think because Cole Beasley or a couple other players don't agree with it, that the games aren't going to happen? No chance. This is a machine.
This is a league. How many weeks did they play with replacement refs?
Yeah.
Before the Fail Mary?
I don't know, Matt. You could probably tell me exactly how many.
I can't remember now. COVID has ruined my brain.
Seattle and Green Bay. But yeah, they don't care. I mean, they care, but it's a machine and it runs in a certain way. And they've obviously decided that this is the best way to go. So anyway, it's going to be, I think, a big story. And will everybody agree? Of course not. But with this happening, I just think that even if players, like if they are that staunch against it, then they'll decide to sit out. And that's good for them if that's how they feel. I have no hard feelings for anybody that wants to do that, but the league is not going to stop and wait for you. The league will have plenty of players that will want to get vaccinated to play in the National Football League. And that's where the leverage is. Anyway, interesting story. We'll take a quick break. Before we do, though, Matt, it's a musical themed Thursday, but you know what else it is?
Oh, it's a Takeout Thursday, Lee.
Takeout Thursday here on The Drive. Gabriel Pizza and The Drive hooking up to have somebody win $100 from Gabriel Pizza before 6 o'clock. Two things have to happen. Number one, when you hear the cue to call, be caller number 15. If you can do that, you are halfway there, living on a prayer. The other half, Matt, don't shake your head. It's just a good Bon Jovi reference on a musical themed Thursday. Maybe Bon Jovi makes an appearance.
It's an okay reference to a bad song.
Stop, Matt. I don't want to get Thursday off to a bad start. You can't call Living on a Prayer a bad song. You can't.
It's a bad song.
It's an anthem. It's not even a song. It's an anthem.
Yeah, and it's bad.
Okay, so caller number...
You know, Tommy?
Yeah.
He used to work on the docks.
I know that.
But I don't know if he is right now.
Okay.
Because I think there's some union trouble. His luck, it's not so good right now. It's tough, Lee. So tough.
What's going on with Gina?
Oh, she works a diner all day.
Yeah. All I know is that song probably, 35, 40 years old? Mm-hmm. And you're quoting line after line.
Oh, I know it.
Must be good.
I know it very well.
Okay. So caller 15 when you hear the cue to call, and when you order from Gabriel's Pizza, you know what else they do, Matt? They don't just do dinner.
They do breakfast.
Yes. Very good breakfast as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Matt, when you go to Gabriel Pizza and it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, maybe you're waking up from a late night, decide that you want a little bit of breakfast to get you going, what are you ordering?
There's so many great choices. Their breakfast menu is incredible. Oftentimes, I'm like a 2-egg breakfast guy, but Gabriel's, give me the Wild Western omelet.
Wild West.
3-egg omelet, ham and onion. Oh, get those Gabriel's home fries. And they got a lot of great omelet choices, but I'm not always a big ham guy. But you give me ham in an omelet, there's something about ham at breakfast. And so the Wild Western omelet is what I'm ordering at Gabe's.
It feels like the Wild West around here. The Wild Western omelet from Gabriel's. Know that information when you become caller 15, and you'll be walking away with $100 from Gabriel Pizza when you hear the cue to call. That will happen sometime before 6 o'clock. We will start talking some National Hockey League. Couple of trades already in the books, and what might still be to come. What Pierre Dorion said to the media earlier today ahead of the draft tomorrow. We'll talk about that next. Lever Sage, Matt Conisvita on the Drive on TSN 1200.
The Drive continues on TSN 1200.
Welcome back to The Drive. Lever Sage, Matt Conisvita with you until 6 o'clock today. A lot going on here on The Drive, between a Takeout Thursday, between a musical theme Thursday. Matt Conisvita against the world, which includes me and you. When I say me and you, the listener. Yes, whether you like it or not, you're teamed up with me today. You have no choice. Personal Jesus, Depeche Mode, after Hot for Teacher from Van Halen. The two songs so far, we got to figure out Matt's code.
And before we get into what we're getting into next, getting some agreement on the text machine and the tweet machine. Steve, Prayer is one of the most awful songs of all time. Hey, John, get some more Hairspray. Worst song ever.
Right.
From Steve.
Hey, hold on.
Sure.
Steve, we love your contributions each and every day here in the program. Matt only selects the ones when you agree with him, which is nice. What does the Hairspray have to do with the song? Oh, right, nothing. And Steve, I will call you out, and Matt is going to disagree with me here, and I don't want to get into a 10-minute discussion on Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi, but just because a song is really good and then it gets overplayed and people say, oh, I hate that song because it gets overplayed, does not make it a bad song.
And I will say, that's not why I dislike the song.
Right. So you hated it from the first time you ever heard it.
It's a bad song.
That's a lie.
Bad lyrics, bad song.
All right. Lyrics don't always have to make up
but
what is a good song.
Bad song. Don't like the song.
Okay. And Steve, thanks for your musical snob opinion on Living on a Prayer.
Looks like Matt has texted in saying Matty Tuscany just can't relate to Tommy is all. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be onto something there.
No, for sure. That is bang on.
We got a text from Unsigned here. Living on a Prayer is an awful song. Pure cheese. My goodness, Lever Sage has awful taste. He probably enjoys hot dogs. Don't know what that
has to do with anything.
I like hot dogs. And then Brent has texted in, good afternoon, lads. If Tommy used to work on the docks, the union been on strike, he's down on his luck. He might as well go for a soda. Nobody hurts, nobody cries.
Exactly.
Thanks, Brent.
Two great tunes, Brent.
And Steve texting in. Thank you, Steve. I could not agree more. No offense, guys, but Kim Mitchell sucks. Yes. Yes, he does. Thank you, Steve. Okay. Kim Mitchell.
I will.
Wait, I would much rather listen to Living on a Prayer on repeat for the rest of my life than have to listen to freaking Patio Lanterns once or go for a soda or any Kim Mitchell.
Wow. Living on a Prayer from Bon Jovi must be really good.
Living on a Prayer, bad song. Kim Mitchell, horrible songs.
Hey,
congratulations,
this
Kim.
guy just got into the Canadian Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, Kim. Are you going to celebrate by wearing diamonds?
Okay. Let's end this with, I am not necessarily disagreeing with you on your Kim Mitchell take. I will say that Kim Mitchell's best song, in my opinion, is actually sung by his guitarist. And
tells you everything you need to know.
Right. But again, we disagree on Bon Jovi. But the two songs in the musical theme are Personal Jesus from Depeche Mode and Hot for Teacher from Van Halen. We got to crack the code. All right, let's get to the NHL. We now have 3 trades in the books here. I think the most major of the 3, the Red Wings getting Alex Nedeljkovic from the Carolina Hurricanes. and for Jonathan Bernier and a third-round pick coming up in the draft. So for the Detroit Red Wings, Alex Nedeljkovic, where did he play junior? Oh, that's right, in Plymouth, Michigan. And this guy is a really, really good goaltender, just 25 years old, and I think is just starting to come into his own. He was a really good junior goaltender. I think he got a little lost. I won't say lost. It's my theory on goaltenders that the majority of them need a few years to get going. And Nedeljkovic, kind of a breakout season last year, and the Red Wings maybe have their guy for the near future here. And they get him at a pretty good deal because they've signed him for 2 years. Year 1, 2.5. Year 2, 3.5. So they're really not stretching the budget when it comes to their goaltending. And Alex Nedeljkovic can grow with that group. I think this is a really good signing and trade from Detroit's point of view. They had to go to an arbitrator. It looked like the Carolina Hurricanes and Nedeljkovic were going to go to arbitration. They could not agree. And what comes out of it is Detroit going, yeah, we can agree. And when you have a goalie like this does remind me a little bit of Matt Murray. Matt Murray had more success. He won a couple of Stanley Cups, even though he wasn't necessarily the starting goaltender, but kind of around the same age, and you get a goalie that's been around now for a few years. I think it's a really good move from Detroit's point of view. Kind of they swooped in and, hey, we need a guy that we think can carry the load, and we'll pay him for a couple of years.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me Steve Yzerman made a savvy signing?
It's my opinion that I really like this move. Whether people do or not, like whether he works out, Detroit's still not a very good team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Alex Nedeljkovic was a really good goalie because he played for a really good team in Carolina, but his numbers won't be as good. He might not get as many wins. Detroit is a team up and coming, but they're going to hope that Nedeljkovic can grow with the group. I love this trade from a Detroit point of view. Not the only one that was made, though. The Arizona Coyotes, they're adding some picks, Matty. Andrew Ladd went there, and they got, 2 seconds and a third to take on Andrew Ladd's contract, and now Shane Gostisbehere. The Philadelphia Flyers have traded Gostisbehere and a second and a seventh to Arizona simply to clear some cap space. So I think I understand Philadelphia's predicament. Didn't think that Gostisbehere with his contract could fit into what they were doing. Didn't help them. He has 2 years left on his deal at 4.5. And it helps the Flyers out with some cap space. And Arizona is one of those teams that puts their hands up all the time and says, you need some cap space help? We can be there. And they get some more picks for Shane Gostisbehere.
Yeah, this seems like a trade that works for both sides to me. And, I mean, it's crazy to see how far Shane Gostisbehere's stock has fallen. Because I remember when he was first on the scene talking to Tim Saunders, their radio play-by-play voice of the Flyers, and asking about, A, how to pronounce his name, and B, what the book on him was. And he said, he's not Erik Karlsson, but he's our Erik Karlsson.
No, he's not, Tim. But, I mean, a dynamic offensive guy, right?
And that was Tim's point. And he wasn't saying he's at the same level, but that he was sort of on that trajectory. And at the time, it certainly felt that way. And we got to know him around the NHL a little bit better over the next couple of seasons. And he was on a nice trajectory and has sort of taken a step back. So interesting to see if he'll be able to recapture some of that in a different city.
Yeah, we'll see what Andre Tourigny does with him. It'll be interesting to see what ice time he earns or doesn't earn under Andre Tourigny. The Calgary Flames have acquired Tyler Pitlick from Seattle in exchange for a 4th-round pick in next year's draft. Pitlick was acquired by the Kraken from Arizona in the expansion draft. So there is one move that the Seattle Kraken took Pitlick and moved him on. They really didn't do a whole lot. They really didn't do any of that yesterday. We expected a couple. Vegas had 10. The Kraken, not really any going into that. So it looked like general managers knew exactly what they were doing. Hey, we'll lose a player and that'll be that, but we're not giving you anything more.
Are you impressed that GMs learned and remembered the lessons from the Vegas expansion draft? I'm surprised that there were 0 side deals. Mm-hmm. Now, I did not expect nearly as many, but I expected 1 or 2. And if you had set the over-under at 2.5, I would have really struggled with it. Mm-hmm. At 1.5, I'd be going over all day. And so the fact that we got 0 side deals is, quite frankly, staggering to me. And, I mean, impressive. It's impressive that all the GMs, and I mean, I don't know if all 10 were necessarily the wrong move, but the vast majority of what made Vegas so successful out of the gate was taking advantage of teams looking to make side deals. And I think we've talked about this on this show, and mm-hmm. I don't think it's, talking out of line that the Ottawa Senators handled things correctly in the Vegas expansion draft, where, you know what? Let's not overthink this. This is designed that we're supposed to lose a player that we like and a good player, and that's unfortunately what's going to happen here, but let's not get goofy. And that's where Vegas had their most success, and we knew going into this draft that Ron Francis's job was going to be tough, and the expectations for the Kraken are going to be a lot higher than any other expansion team in the history of the NHL because of what can we call Vegas their expansion cousins? Is it too distant? The same rules, but a different situation.
If Vegas hadn't had any success, maybe. But with all the success, I don't know that you can. But you're right, and you have to give Ottawa a lot of credit. Like whether, what they were going to do with Dion Phaneuf, and who knows. Did he say no? Sounds like that happened. But again, sometimes you have to look at this stuff in hindsight, right? I don't know what Joey Dacord's going to be. You don't? I don't think anybody does. I think there's potential there. He could be the Seattle Kraken's number 1 guy for 7 years, or he could never make it. I have no idea. I think they lost a good prospect in Joey Dacord. But if Seattle was going to take a goalie, and that was what they were going to do because they really believed in both Philip Gustafsson and Joey Dacord, then they were going to lose one of them. And Ottawa just had to make a decision. And they made one. Good for them. They also made a decision on Marc Methot. We love Marc Methot here on the station. He adds a ton. Marc Methot played 45 games in the NHL after that move was made. Did they make the right decision? From the franchise's point of view, they did. Doesn't mean Mark's not a great defenseman, and doesn't mean we don't love him here and everything else. But if you look back on it now, they lost a player that only played 45 games in the NHL after that point. So what did they lose? Not a ton. Barclay Goodrow signing official as well with the New York Rangers. It's a 6-year, almost $22 million deal for Barclay Goodrow.
If you're not good at math, 3.642 per.
Mm-hmm. That's why you're on here.
Here to help. I didn't do the math, but.
See, you didn't have to say that. Ian Pulver is an agent, and he works for, Will Sports Group. He's been an agent for a long time. I love his tweet. Congratulations to Barclay Goodrow on signing a 6-year contract with the Rangers for $21.85 million. Goodrow, a longtime client of the Will Sports Group, is twice a Stanley Cup champion with Tampa Bay. Goodrow was never drafted and is a shining example of the will in Will Sports Group. Hard to argue. He played in the OHL, played for Brampton North Bay, and was a guy that he's a good player. But Is he going to make the NHL, and is he going to be a star? And, Tampa gave up a first to go get him, and they won 2 Stanley Cups, and awesome. The guy's getting paid. Fantastic news for him. So that is official. Take a break, Matt, because I want to hear from Pierre Dorion on a couple of comments that he made to the media, specifically about the number 10 spot and their depth on their goaltending. And then we'll talk about that when the drive returns here on TSN 1200.
Let's get back to the drive on the home of the Sens, TSN 1200.
Welcome back to the drive. Now, Matt Conisvita, I'll tell you in your musical theme here Thursday that, what is this song, Matt?
Creep. Radiohead.
I actually knew that. I just wanted you to stop singing in my ear. So asking you a question got you to stop doing that and answering. So I thought that was very good. Creep by Radiohead. Song number 3.
Now, who else didn't like this song?
It can't be. This is my favorite Radiohead song.
Oh,
which probably means you won't play it ever again.
You just don't like me singing along then.
Correct.
This is a staple for me of late in the night at private room karaoke. But Johnny Greenwood, I believe, the guitarist, did not like this song. And the little right before the chorus was him trying to sabotage it. And it ended up becoming an iconic part of the song.
Really?
So you tried, Johnny, but you failed.
That's funny.
Yeah, so we got Personal Jesus, Depeche Mode.
Mm-hmm.
We got Hot for Teacher by the Good Van Halen. And we got Creep by Radiohead. What do these songs have in common?
Well, I don't know. But does the listener? That's the question. Also, it's a Takeout Thursday here on the drive. When you hear the cue to call, be caller number 15. And if you can do that and know what Matt Conisvita orders when he orders breakfast from Gabriel's.
Give me a Wild Western omelet.
Wild Western omelet. You don't have to know what's in it. You just need to know it's the Wild West.
But I'll tell you what's in it. Ham and onion. Love ham and onion with breakfast. Oh, delicious.
I know we said that we would get into what the Sens and Pierre Dorion has talked about here. He in his draft pre-availability. We'll do so just after 3 o'clock. I did want to get your take, and maybe I think what a lot of people sounds like Taylor Hall is very close to signing a deal here with the Boston Bruins. And I'm sure he loved the fact that he was not the trigger man or the first focal point of the Boston Bruins when he got there. But for him, 4 years, $6 million a year. Not quite the Taylor Hall numbers that we were used to when he was signing, 1 year, $8 million in Buffalo. And what he thought he might be able to get playing with Jack Eichel. And does this seem fair for Taylor Hall? 4 years, $6 million. Right now, being reported over the last 20, 25 minutes that the Bruins and Taylor Hall are just working out the particulars of a no-trade clause, that the deal is 4 times 6. Not done yet, but seems close.
Well, and the no-trade clause to me tells me that this wasn't a deal where Taylor Hall was looking to cash in and make as much money as possible. I think he's realized what is important to him, and he's seen what the Bruins have been over an extended period of time, and he's saying, you know what? I'm going for fit over payday. And I did the 1 year deal with Buffalo, which was payday over fit. It did not work out at all, and I went to a team where I didn't have to be one of the absolute go-to guys, and I think he likes the fit there. And the fact that they've put that they're working on the no-trade clause tells me that he's done being a mercenary. He's done trying to cash in, and he's prioritizing winning now. And I think if you're Boston, probably wish you could get him at even a lower amount of dollars, but I think he's a good enough player, and there's the track record there. I think it's a pretty fair deal. Have you seen the news out of San Jose?
No.
The Sharks have announced a 2-year deal for former Ottawa Senator Rudolph Balcers. And the GM saying he showed that he is a versatile forward who can provide offense for a club as a top 9 forward. We are happy to have him.
It's a one-way deal?
All I have is a 2-year contract extension. They don't have, from what I've seen, I assume it would be a one-way deal. An average of $1.55 million per. The Athletics' Kevin Kurz has it.
Okay. Didn't think you were going to interrupt Taylor Hall discussion here.
Just some breaking news here for you.
I'm like, okay, what have the Sharks done? Rudy Balcers.
Sorry to underwhelm. I thought there was a bit of a local tie here.
Is there? Like, I feel like, is there a tie? Like, do people, will they tune in to a San Jose game and go, oh, Rudy Balcers is playing for that team? Maybe. Maybe not.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Well, if it's a one-way deal, good for him. The San Jose Sharks are not going to win the Stanley Cup next year. So they get him at a very cheap price and see what he can do. You always like the fact that people are able to, if they leave and they're not on a one-way here, that they can go get a one-way somewhere else and give them a little bit of security. So good on him. Hardworking player. I feel like when AJ describes players with a lot of activity, not a lot of achievement, I kind of feel like that about Rudy Balcers, but maybe he just never had the right opportunity here, and he'll get it in San Jose. I don't know. But I think you're right with Taylor Hall. My worry is with the Boston Bruins. Is Taylor Hall a first-line guy? Not on that team, he's not, right? But how much do you want to pay a guy that isn't going to kill penalties and isn't going to do some of the things with the intangibles and isn't on your first line? You start to get into that discussion, okay, like we're giving a guy $6 million a year to do what? Well, to make them a deeper team, to make them a threat, to provide some offense for the Boston Bruins, but can he be a difference maker at that much money? Because he's not going to kill penalties and he's not going to do some of the difficult things that other guys do, and he's also not going to be on your top line. But I do understand from the Boston Bruins' point of view that they're in a tough division. We've pointed out a lot that the East is going to be really good. And if Boston wants to compete, you can't just have one line. So I get it. They obviously think it's a fit.
And I think the expectation is if you're not going to be on the top line, you're not going to face the other team's best shutdown pairing. And so you're going to have easier matchups. You're going to have not as hard minutes with the lack of special teams time. So I think the expectation is for him to, provide closer to first line production because he's being sort of sheltered by the players ahead of him. I don't think it's a horrible contract. This is a former MVP.
Yep.
And is he at that level anymore? Maybe not. But when you're in the right situation and things slot correctly, if one of your top line guys gets injured, can he move up?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a good signing.
He will turn 30 at the end of November. So if it is a 4-year deal, he'll be turning from 33 to 34 by the end of the contract. He'll be 33 at the end of the contract. So they still feel like there's some tread on the tire and maybe a great fit for Taylor Hall and the Boston Bruins. Okay, we will hear from Pierre Dorion when we come back. Some thoughts on what to expect coming up tomorrow night. We have all of your draft coverage here on TSN 1200 starting tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. JR, Steve Lloyd, Dean Brown. And then rounds 2 through 7. Myself, Graham Creech, Gord Wilson will be on from 11 until about 2, 3 o'clock, depending on when it ends. When we come back, we'll have what you need to know, and then we'll hear from Pierre Dorion. When we come back on The Drive on TSN 1200.